What's going on, everybody? It's Yap MMA back with another video. Today, I'm going to be breaking down and recapping UFC 310. It was a pretty good fight card, final pay-per-view of the year. Not bad, a decent amount of finishes. Some questionable decisions, but we'll get into those as we move on. But starting off the night, we had a heavyweight bout. Kennedy Njoku, I can never say his last name, versus Lucas Brzeski. In this fight, I picked Kennedy. For a light heavyweight, he does really well in heavyweight. He's very technical in heavyweight just because of the lack of technicality in heavyweight. He wasn't amazing at light heavyweight, but this is one of those guys that has made that move up to heavyweight, and it shows. It shows noticeably. He's much more skilled in heavyweight because the unranked heavyweight section, sorry, it's just full of fat guys. It's full of fat guys. They can throw hands, but they're not technical. Kennedy ended up finding Lucas Brzeski's chin, landed a nice right hook, dropped him, finished him with some ground and pound. Pretty easy work for Kennedy. A good fight to start off the card. He finished him pretty early on in the fight. Lucas did land a couple shots here and there, so they were going back and forth a bit. I thought Kennedy was getting struck a bit too much. I did think he would finish him even earlier than he did, but good finish nonetheless. Good for him. Hopefully he'll get a ranked opponent soon because honestly I think he can easily crack into top 15, maybe top 10, and we'll see what Kennedy can do. But that was the first fight of the night. Pretty good one. We're going to move on to the next one, which was Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. This one, I mean, they fed Clay Guida to Chase Hooper, man. I had a feeling Chase was going to get that sub. He doesn't have too much power, and Clay Guida tends to put himself in bad situations, which he did put himself in this fight. He ended up, ended up giving his arm to Chase Hooper, which is a very bad idea. Chase Hooper ended up finding the armbar, pretty easy for him. Got bonus. He got a performance bonus. Also, I think Kennedy also got a performance bonus of the night. So back to back performance bonuses to start off the card. Very nice, good work. Chase Hooper deserved it. I think he is a good fighter. He did get fed an old Clay Guida, so we'll have to see who he fights next. It'd be nice to see Chase Hooper, fight maybe like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a unranked lightweight right now that he could really fight. I don't know. There's a lot of skilled unranked lightweights. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, Esteban Ribovic. That would be a good matchup. Esteban Ribovic versus Chase Hooper. In next 4 or 5 months would be a pretty good matchup in my opinion. But good win by Chase Hooper. He got the arm, secured the arm bar, and easy work for him. So yeah, let's move on to the next. We got Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. I doubt Chiesa a lot. I think a lot of people doubt Chiesa. He kind of looks like Unk. Let's be completely honest, but good work by him. He got the submission over Max Griffin, and late in the third round. Basically, the whole fight was Chiesa just searching for takedowns. He landed his takedowns, kept pushing for more takedowns. Griffin was never able to really deal any damage to Michael Chiesa. Griffin's always kind of been a mid-level fighter. He's had some competitive fights with some high ranked opponents, but he's never really gone to that spot. And Michael Chiesa was able to dominate him a bit on the ground. Good performance by Michael Chiesa, honestly. Solid win for him. Back to back wins. Tony Ferguson, which is not really a very high up nice win, but good win for him. Back to back submissions, both rear naked chokes. So good for Michael Chiesa. Yeah, we're gonna move on to the next. We have Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. I honestly thought that Cody Durden was gonna be able to get this one going. Push the pace, get the takedowns. But Joshua Van, man, he's doubted for such a young age and such a small guy for the division. And I'm saying that like 125 isn't already a small division, but Joshua Van is small for 125. If they had Adam's weight, that's where he would be for sure. But he makes weight at 125. He looks solid. He was getting taken down a lot in the first round, but he bounced back. Joshua Van, he started getting his hands going, and took over the fight for sure. So good decision by Van. He got the unanimous decision, and he's ranked now. He's a ranked opponent in flyweight. So hopefully, maybe we'll see Joshua move up the rankings and potentially make it interesting because Pantoja just cleared up the division. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. But we'll move on to Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. This was definitely one of the more bummy fights. Two older guys kind of battling it off. I thought maybe Chris Weidman would be able to deal the more damage, but he kind of just quit. He didn't poke Eric Anders' eyes enough. I'm just kidding, but he wasn't really able to deal enough damage to Eric Anders, and he just kind of gave up. He almost quit a little bit. Eric Anders finished him with ground and pound. Solid TKO by Eric Anders, I guess, but Weidman dropped to the ground, curled up a bit, and just ate some shots on the ground. Not even like nasty ground and pound where it was like, oh, yo, end the fight, end the fight. It's kind of just like, yeah, just end it, cut it here. You know what I mean? Like, I think the final round or the second round was almost over, and the ref just saw enough, so he just ended it. But it was an all right fight. Good win for Eric Anders, I guess. Both these guys are kind of 50-50 fighters. I'd have to think that Chris Weidman's career is over. So yeah, we'll move on to the main prelim. What am I saying? Main prelim. The prelims. That was the early prelims. I was just on the prelims. Started off with a banger fight that I thought was going to be a banger fight. I thought this was potential fight of the night. Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. And I was mad disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I was mad disappointed watching this fight. I picked Brian Battle. Brian Battle did win, but it was kind of a nasty win in my opinion. It was a very, very, very close fight. I thought Randy Brown did more damage. I thought he outstruck Brian Battle, which I'm pretty sure he did. But Brian Battle had pretty good clinch work, but he was clinching the entire fight. Brian Battle had Randy Brown clinched up against the fence whole fight, controlling his head and just kneeing him up the center. He was landing those knees, but it was just kind of an iffy fight, man. And at the end, crowd started booing Brian Battle when he got that decision. Obviously he went on the mic, he did his thing. He's fun. Brian Battle is fun on the mic, but he couldn't back up his mic talk with his performance. It was a bit of a shitty performance. I don't want to say the hype is dead on Brian Battle because I don't think it is. We'll see what he does in his next fight. Fights happen, shit happens. Fighters don't always look the best. You can't fully shit on him, but definitely wasn't the best look for Brian Battle. So we'll see what happens. I don't think if he had a good performance the other night or last night, he would have gotten that ranked opponent next. But since he didn't, it's gonna be a bit iffy. We'll see what happens. But Brian Battle got the decision. And we'll move on to the next. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. I actually love this fight. I'm not even going to lie. Excuse me. I really enjoyed watching this fight. A lot of people thought it was going to be super boring. The outcome was the outcome. It was the expected outcome. It went the distance, but some high level wrestling and grappling. If you're an MMA fan who does enjoy high level grappling exchanges, this fight was amazing. You saw Aljo really put the pace on Evloev, took him down a bunch. Proved that he is meant to be in bantamweight. No, sorry, not bantamweight. Featherweight. But yeah, Aljo looked great. Aljo looked amazing, and this was a really close fight as well. Just like Brian Battle versus Randy Brown, this was a really close fight. I think this should have gone to a split, in my opinion. I gave Aljo the second round. I gave Aljo the second. He's getting takedowns. He was controlling Evloev for the most part. Evloev he often reversed the positions, got the butterfly. He flipped him around a bunch, and Evloev was just amazing at controlling Aljo. The real difference was that when Evloev was on top or when Evloev had control, he was landing some ground and pound. He was landing a couple of shots. Aljo wasn't really doing that. Aljo was trying to get offensive. He was just trying to keep offensive wrestling. He didn't really go for any submission attempts, anything like that. And he did flip Evloev quite a few times. He picked him up, dropped him down. Impressive skills by Aljo. Aljo is very, very strong. especially at featherweight. He looks amazing. But Movsar Evloev got the decision, unanimous decision. I think it should have gone to a split. It was a very close fight, but respect to both men. Good fight nonetheless, and yeah, we'll see. Movsar might get. I don't think he gets a title shot next. I really hope he doesn't get a title shot next. I think he needs one more win. I mean, he is undefeated. He is 9-0 in the UFC, but it's just zero finishes. Not really too dominant in his last three. Like his last three fights were very, very close. All of them were very, very close. So I feel like maybe a rematch with Diego Lopez, or maybe a fight with Alexander Volkanovski, something like that. And if he wins that, then he gets that fight with sorry, with Topuria, excuse me. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving on, we had Vicente Luque versus Themba Grimbo. I thought Themba Grimbo would beat Vicente Luque. I thought Vicente Luque was a bit washed, in my opinion. He's been looking bad in his past few fights. He got beat the living shit out of him by he got beat the living shit out of him by Jeff Neal. That was brutal fight. Hasn't really looked the same. But he showed out in this fight. He showed out, dropped Themba Grimbo, wrapped up the Darce choke, and put him to sleep. It was a nasty finish by Vicente Luque. Got a performance bonus of the night, well deserved. And the Silent Assassin is back. He is back. Nasty fashion. Keeps Themba Grimbo out of the rankings and solidifies his place in the rankings. Good for Luque. He definitely deserved it. He's been working hard. I've seen a lot of his videos in the gym and stuff and shit like that. So good for Luque. Good win by him. Themba didn't really do anything in the fight. Luque, he landed the shots, dropped Themba, and just wrapped up the choke, and that was basically it. First minute or two. Oh, first minute of the round. So nasty stuff, Excuse me, nasty stuff by Vicente Luque. And yeah, we'll move on to the next. We had Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. I picked Dominic Reyes by TKO. Dominic Reyes won by TKO. Pretty easy stuff for him. And I can't hate on Anthony Smith too much because he lost his partner and his training his coach not too long ago. Really rough for him to come into this fight. He did retire at the end of the fight, or said this might be his last fight. I think it is his last fight. I think it should be his last fight. Smith has not looked great in his past few fights. Besides that really lucky guillotine against Vitor Petrino, he just has been a downfall for him. It's been a spiral for him. He just been giving up recently, and that's what he did in this fight. Dominic Reyes poured on the pace, put the pressure on, landed the better shots, dropped Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith curled up in a ball, and yeah, Reyes landed just ground and pound after ground and pound after ground and pound for at least a couple minutes, and the ref had seen enough. It wasn't a nasty ground and pound TKO finish, but it was, it was enough. It was enough for sure. It was enough. Smith definitely took way too much damage at the end there, and I think that's just it for him, man. I think that's truly it for him. Good win for Dominic Reyes. I feel bad for Anthony Smith, of course. My condolences for his loss, but it is what it is, man. It's at the end of the day, it's a fight game, and it's tough. It's tough for sure. It's tough to go into a ring without your coach, who's been in 47 out of your 48 fights. Like that's really tough, man. So, but that's what it is, and we're gonna move on to the main card. Moving on to the main card, we got Nate Landwehr versus Doo Ho Choi. I picked Nate Landwehr. He looked great in his last fight. He dealt a bunch of damage to his opponent, dropped him down. Nasty finish by Nate Landwehr. Nate the Train, I thought he would have had it, but damn Doo Ho Choi. Damn Doo Ho Choi looked good in that fight. I am going to be completely honest. Doo Ho Choi's hands were clean. He was looking very fresh. Nasty striking put on by him. Doo Ho Choi was picking his shots perfectly, landing the perfect shots. He kept landing this nice clean uppercut, kept catching Nate the Train off guard, and he just dealt more damage. Eventually, he ended up securing the crucifix over Nate and landing just elbow after elbow after elbow. Haven't seen that in a minute in any fights, but good finish by Doo Ho Choi. It wasn't a dominant, nasty finish, but he definitely clearly beat Nate Landwehr and did some significant damage. Landed the better shots, and I think he deserved the win. But yeah, Doo Ho Choi's kind of back. I'm not gonna lie. He took a huge break. Fought not too long ago. Bill Algeo finished him. Just fought Nate the Train, finished him. Um, hey man, give this guy a higher up ranked opponent. Not in the rankings, but get him close to that. If he wins his next fight by finish, maybe give him a low rankings of what are they, featherweight? Yeah, featherweight. Hey man, you never know. We'll see what happens with Doo Ho Choi. But we'll move on to the fight that I do not think should have been on the main card, but at least it ended the way it did. But Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. Bryce Mitchell gets the KO over. Excuse me. Bryce Mitchell gets the KO over Kron Gracie in round two. Oh no, sorry, round three. This fight went way too far. Kron Gracie was pulling guard every second he could. Thought it was a BJJ match. This dude thought it was a fucking BJJ match. This is MMA, my guy. This is MMA. You're throwing hands, you're throwing kicks, you're throwing knees, you're throwing everything, elbows, if you know what I mean, Kron Gracie. So get this man out the UFC. Kron Gracie's gone. Must retire or get kicked out of the UFC. One or the other or both. But yeah, Bryce Mitchell, Kron Gracie pulls guard in the most disgusting fashion ever, leaves his head completely open, of course, drop to the mat, and Bryce Mitchell lands two nasty elbows, knocking out Kron Gracie. Nasty win by him, to be honest. It was very expected. I thought he might sub Gracie, to be honest, but nasty knockout by Bryce Mitchell. Good for him. Well deserved. If he didn't knock him out, it would have been a little questionable. If this went to a decision, it would have been like, should Bryce Mitchell really be in the rankings? But good win for him. And he gets back in the win column. I think that's what their goal was: get Bryce Mitchell back in the win column, slowly build his stock back up, and hopefully he can get a better match up a bit higher up in the rankings for Bryce Mitchell. So yeah, we'll move on to the next. Cyril Gahn versus Alexander Volkov. Um, and it was an absolute robbery. It was an absolute robbery. Anybody who watched that fight, I hope you guys did watch that fight. It wasn't an amazing fight. It wasn't something that's like, oh, you need to watch this fight. But if you watched the fight and you saw what took place, who landed what shots, who controlled on the ground, it was just so clear that Volkov won this fight. Like it shouldn't have even been a split decision, in my personal opinion. I don't think Cyril Gahn landed something that rocked Volkov. There was nothing where Volkov was in danger. There was no scenario where Cyril Gahn really dealt an insane amount of damage to Volkov. He did have more strikes landed, but Volkov landed the bigger shots, controlled him on the ground for longer, did more damage to him. He landed a nasty spinning back fist, which was the highlight of the fight. He landed kicks. He landed straights right down the pipe. Like, it was just so many things. Like, if you watch this fight, I think everybody should try to watch this fight or watch some highlights of it, because there was just so many factors that just showed that Volkov won this, man. I think he looked amazing in that fight. He looked great. Obviously, it was decently close, but I just think Volkov won in every department. I was watching and I seriously thought, when they were calling out the decision, I was like, all right, unanimous decision, Volkov. I was like, let's go Volkov, unanimous decision. Um, but it's like Dana gifted John Jones, another not contender, so that Gahn beats him, and then, well, fuck's sake, man, like, I'm trying not to crash out, but like, dude, this was awful. This was awful judging. The judging's been rough recently, but this is just another level, man. So, Gahn wins by split decision. Even he was mad about the win. Even Gahn was mad about the win. Gahn got the win, and he was walking out the cage. He broke his toe. His toe was crooked. It was just this fight was just such a kill. It was such a buzzkill. Absolutely ruined the momentum of the fight card for sure. Guaranteed ruin the momentum of the fight card. because everybody knew it was a robbery. Everybody knew it was a robbery. Yo, in the stands, everybody was fucking pissed off, dude. Everybody knew it was a robbery. Um, it's rough to see, man. Hopefully Volkov can get back in there soon. He didn't look like he was very injured. He didn't really take much damage. Hopefully he can get back in there, get another win, and he deserves a title shot. He deserves a title shot, or he deserves a title eliminator. And it sucks to see. It seriously sucks to see. We might get Cyril Gahn versus Tom Aspinall next after Tom hopefully gets the belt from John Jones. If John Jones retires, but it's an absolute holdup in heavyweight, man. It sucks to see. But we'll move on to the co-main event of the night, which is Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Gary. I had high hopes for this fight. I had high hopes for this fight, and it really wasn't all that. It really wasn't all that. If anything, Shavkat's stock went down, and Shavkat won by unanimous decision. Controlled Ian Gary in the grappling department. Landed the better shots, but Ian Gary, man, he almost choked out Shavkat cold. He almost choked out Shavkat. He had Shavkat in more danger than Shavkat even had Gary. He didn't have Gary in any significant serious danger. It almost seemed throughout the fight that Shavkat had so much respect for Ian Gary. Like he respected him too much to the point where he was just afraid to really commit to something against Gary. And so it kind of put the fight on like a hold a bit. They were clinched up against the fence a lot. Not much was going on. Mark Goddard had to tell them, yo, let's get it moving. Let's get it going. He had to separate them at one point. Like, I don't know. It was just a bit of a holdup. It was a bit of a standoff. Props to both guys. They were both undefeated. A lot of respect to Ian Gary for taking this fight. Very dangerous fight for him, but in the actual fight, there was not much danger. And Ian Gary almost choked him out. He almost had the rear naked choke on Shavkat. I believe it was in round 4 or 5. It might have been round 5 at the end of the fight, but Shavkat gets the decision. He definitely did land the more strikes and did the more damage to Ian Gary, but Gary definitely showed some heart and almost got the finish on Shavkat. But nonetheless, Bilal came into the cage at the end of the fight, faced off with Shavkat. It's inevitable. Shavkat versus Bilal, 2025. Kind of hyped to see it. I think Bilal's going to destroy Shavkat. I think he's going to maul Shavkat. I'm hyped to see that fight. Our boy, remember the name, Bilal Muhammad, is going to get it done for sure. Moving on, though, final fight of the night, the main fight, Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. Nasty win by Pantoja. He proved himself. He's seriously cementing himself as the GOAT of flyweight. He's beat everybody. He's beat everybody. Anybody that the UFC throws at Pantoja, he beats, seriously. But yeah, round 2, Pantoja gets the submission over Kaya Sakura. It was exciting to see. Japan prospect, coming from Ryzen, 2-time champ, comes to the UFC. It's exciting to see fighting Pantoja. Kind of weird to get the title shot right off the bat, but it was interesting. It was really interesting. I definitely thought Kaya Sakura would have the better hands on the feet while he was on the feet, have the better striking. But dude, Pantoja truly showed that he's got good striking. He rocked Kaya Sakura at times, dealt more damage on the feet, got him to the ground, hopped on his back, dragged him down to the mat, and eventually found the rear naked choke. Nasty work by Alessandro Pantoja. Remains the champ, and I would love to see Pantoja maybe get one more win. Maybe he fights another Kai. Maybe he fights Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France coming off of a win. He fights Kai Kara France. If he beats Kai Kara France, I think he should move up. I know he's a small guy. He kind of suits 125, but you got to let this guy try and get that double champ status. Truly, he's proven himself. He's proven himself. He's about to be the flyweight GOAT, and he called it out on the mic at the end of the fight. He wants to be flyweight GOAT. He wants to be seen as a flyweight GOAT, and he's just there. He's so close to being there. It's between him and Mighty Mouse. Truly, it's between him, Mighty Mouse, Henry Cejudo. But Henry Cejudo kind of left that category when he moved up to bantamweight. So I gotta say it's between Mighty Mouse and Pantoja. And Pantoja has been showing out, man, recently. So we'll have to see what happens, but I think Pantoja could move up. I think he could challenge for the belt there. It would be very interesting to see him versus Marab, or whoever wins Marab versus Umar. That would be really interesting. That'd be really, really, really interesting. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the fight card last night. It was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. We got one more fight before 2025. Next week, I'll be giving my breakdown and my recap, of course. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below what your favorite fight of the night was, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you.